I transferred schools, and when I did transfer to University of Arizona, that scholarship I had coming out of high school is only for incoming freshmen. So I did lose all of that scholarship, and I had to pay for school out of pocket. So decision I'll still pay for a while till I pay off the student loans.
So you pretty much had to pay out of pocket every single year at the end.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, I mean, you left the U of A with how much in student loans?
About 50.
Okay.
Yeah, a little over 50. So I did go for 5 years.
Rich, how you doing today?
Doing good yourself?
Pretty good, thank you. I mean, I really appreciate you coming in today. Thanks so much for allowing me to interview you. Let's get started. How old are you?
I'm 27.
27. And you had to think about that one. Eh?
I did.
Now, where are you from?
From Mammoth, Arizona. It's about an hour north of town.
Okay.
Just a real small mining community out there.
That's great.
Graduating class was like 60 people, so
Wow.
pretty small.
I actually never heard until you told me about it. But yeah, so it's only like an hour north.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And I'm sorry I cut you off. You were saying that it's like a mining community then?
Yep. Town was pretty much just built probably in the 50s. Just pretty much town popped up just around a mining boom at the time. Arizona, copper mining area, so makes sense.
And what was the class number that you said?
68 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, yep, pretty small.
What would you describe as your favorite thing in Arizona or about Arizona?
I love the food. Everywhere in town, there's always a good place to grab a bite. And I do love the fact that we have a major interstate running right through town. So it makes it real easy to drive to other places around the Southwest. And our airport's here really good. So there's a lot of major cities nearby. You have like LA, just a short drive away, Vegas. And if you need to fly further, you could always fly out of one of the airports here.
Oh, yeah, pretty good. Absolutely. What is your favorite food?
I love Sonoran dogs. Sonoran dogs are always good. I always got to give a shout out to BK. I love them more than Weddle. Sorry. Yeah, those are really good. I love Sonoran dogs.
Great. Now, what do you do for a living?
I'm a systems engineer for a defense contractor company, and we make underwater sonars.
Oh, wow. That's really, really cool. How long have you been doing it for?
For about 3 years now. Actually, just a couple of days ago, hit my 3-year mark.
Oh, wow. Now, what would you describe as your favorite thing, and what is something that challenges you?
Yeah, I think the favorite thing is seeing the progression of complex systems, breaking down these really complex systems down to just the individual parts, and seeing at the very bottom, at the very base of it, it's not really complicated. As long as you start understanding the foundations of the technology, it makes everything else make a little bit more sense. But then part of that, of being the hardest part about it, is they're complex systems.
Yeah.
So trying to understand some of the technologies, it can be pretty challenging sometimes.
Nice. Now, let's see. What social class were you growing up?
I'd say middle. Yeah, pretty dead center middle.
Were there any challenges growing up as a middle class?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I grew up in a mining town. That mine that was in the area did close. It was about 5 minutes away from my house. But that mine did close right at the end of the 2000s, somewhere between 2005, 2008 area. But as a result of that mine closing, my dad was working there at the mine. Now he had to go look for work elsewhere. So that work did involve driving over an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, to go find work in a different mine.
Wow. Eventually, was he able to go back in town and work there again, or?
No, he still, to this day, he still drives about an hour and a half to go to work.
Oh.
There's stuff closer, but not anything that pays well. So the mines pay really well. So the work, an hour and a half drive. He has a big F-150, he eats up gas, but I'm sure he can downsize to a smaller gas savings car. But the drive is definitely a big challenge of living in an area like that.
Nice. Now, would your family talk about money in general?
They would. It was always a little bit we were always in the peripheral of it. Growing up, we never, as kids, had any challenges, I would say. We were in high school, we always had the latest and greatest sports equipment, that $400 bat. It was never an issue trying to get that bat or stuff like that. We'd always go on vacation, Disneyland once a year, maybe twice sometimes.
Oh, wow.
But then on the back end, looking back on it, you do see that your parents did have to make some sacrifices, and sometimes resulting in probably not the best choice, because they would rack up their credit cards. But the end result, we had a good childhood.
That's good.
It's kind of catch-22.
Really good memories. So
Correct.
definitely, was worth it.
Yeah. As a kid.
Do you recall your first interaction with money?
Yeah, I think growing up, my mom would always do this fun thing. She would write out a chore list in the morning. She would crank that Selena music, and it's time to clean when you hear that Selena music in the morning. But she would break it down. She'd have a chore list for us. The real simple things like, throwing out the trash would be, say, a quarter. But some of the things that take more time, like sweeping or mopping, that might be $1, $2. So pretty much it instilled at an early age of you're gonna work for your money, pretty much.
Right. What is the best financial advice you have ever received, and who gave you that advice?
I think the best advice I've received is buy a home. Pretty much as soon as you can, if you're stable enough in an area, or if you're in an area, I guess, that you're looking to stay long term. Because I think growing up, I think mentally myself, I don't know my parents told me that, but like the first stepping stone you have is like, all right, you're moving out on your own, moving out of the house, you get an apartment. And then you kind of get in a dangerous cycle of you're paying rent. And it feels like it's never ending. You never have a chance to save for a home. So I think I did move back home for a little bit after a few years of living in an apartment. And then I was able to save up enough to be able to live in a home or purchase a home.
Perfect. Now, what is the worst financial advice you have ever received, and who gave you that advice?
Yeah, I would say it's easy. Probably nature of growing up, but just put it on the credit card. You'll figure it out later. It never ends well.
Oh, yeah. What is the best financial decision you have ever made?
I think for me, it probably would have been going ahead and buying that home that I talked about earlier. That home really allowed us, and the time that we bought it, we got a really good interest rate in the neighborhood of like 3.25.
Man.
So that's been really nice. And, now probably wouldn't be able to afford the same house that we live in now, just where the interest rates are where they are now. And the prices did go up along with those interest rates. So buying the home when we did has really been a huge help in being able to make changes in my financial situation across the board.
And I would say that you also got very good equity as of right now.
Definitely.
And what is the worst financial decision you've ever made?
I think for me, definitely would have been, I went to GCU, that's Grand Canyon University up in Phoenix, my freshman year. So I did originally have a 4-year scholarship to go to the University of Arizona here in Tucson. It was pretty much everything was going to be paid for. At least a little bit more than tuition was covered. But I decided to go to Grand Canyon because it was like, I was going from a small town. I would always come to Tucson growing up. So like Tucson to me wasn't something new. I did go to Phoenix. So that was like, all right, that's cool. Going to Phoenix, that'll be cool. And I was originally doing pre-med studies. So I went out there. It was really good, small class sizes. The campus was beautiful. But I did have a scholarship to go there too. But the scholarship there was pretty much the same price that I would pay out of pocket going to the University of Arizona. Oh, wow. So I did go there my freshman year. I did come back to the University of Arizona, realized I didn't want to do pre-med. I wanted to do engineering. Don't know exactly why I made that decision.
That's a radical change.
Yeah, big decision. I must have hated the medical field and married a nurse. But yeah, so I transferred schools, and when I did transfer to University of Arizona, that scholarship I had coming out of high school is only for incoming freshmen. So I did lose all of that scholarship, and I had to pay for school out of pocket. So decision I'll still pay for a while till I pay off the student loans.
So you pretty much had to pay out of pocket every single year at the
Yep, correct.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you left the U of A with how much in student loans?
About 50.
Okay.
Yeah, a little over 50. So I did go for 5 years.
Okay, not bad. I mean, with an engineering degree,
Yeah,
I think that you can
it's
pay
manageable.
Nice. Any other worst financial decision?
What else? I did rack up a credit card. That's just part of the apartment life.
That's when you moved into GCU?
That was when I moved back to Tucson originally.
Oh, so you didn't move back with your parents?
Correct. Yeah. So there was a gap where I moved from at GCU. I was in the dorms, and then I moved to Tucson when my parents were still back home in Mammoth. So instead of doing that hour commute, got a place with some friends up here in Tucson. And then, you're in an apartment, you're working a job, you're making, not killer money, you're in school still. And you still want to live a fun lifestyle. So there goes that credit card.
How much did you rack on that?
Probably about in the neighborhood of like the time somewhere between 10 and 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
What did you buy? I mean,
ranging from concert tickets to school random trips to California when you don't have the money, but you just make it work. We'll rack up that credit card. So, yeah, bad choices.
at what point did you realize that, you're like, wait, I won't be able to make the monthly payment?
It was always a matter of I'll make the monthly, but I might have to cook more. Those kinds of decisions. Or I might have to ask my parents or grandparents, hey, I'm a little short. Can you guys help me out? And fortunately, I've been fortunate enough to have a safety net to fall back on in dire situations, and it did happen.
How long did it take you to pay it off?
So right now, I got it all the way down back to pretty much zero.
Okay.
And then I did rack it up to about 8 or so. And that was just moving into a new home and just purchasing things on credit card, saying I'll pay it off, and just didn't get around to it. But luckily now there's a pretty clear path forward to have it paid off by the end of the year.
Perfect. As long as you have a plan, I think that's very, very important. And like you said, lesson learned. Yeah, it won't happen again.
Definitely.
How would you describe your relationship with money?
It's pretty good. I would say I did make my mistakes. I grew up, but I've grown from those. And I'm now in a place where I can correct those mistakes. It's not, not the enemy or anything. It's been really useful to have the home now and know your rent or your living expense, I'll say, is not going to go up every year. It's your mortgage is going to be there for the next, say, 30 years. So it makes it a little easier to budget, what your power bill is going to be, in the same ballpark. So it makes it a little easier to budget now versus back then. So I'd say my relationship's pretty good now. I do want to expand on that later on, and hammer down the finances a little bit more. I think looking long term, I would like my wife to not have to work whenever we have kids. And that way, it's really important to be able to be there for your kid, especially in those early years. So I think if we can get to a place to where she doesn't have to work, that would be like all right, I did good. That my relationship is perfect.
My follow-up question is if you're comfortable with your current financial situation, but I guess that I would say, when you consider saying not right now, however, we have a plan moving forward, or how would you describe it?
Yeah, I would say the plan moving forward right now is to really hammer out those credit cards, get the credit card debt, get out of that. And really, once we get out of the credit card debt, there's the student loans, but it's manageable. And then you have, your car payment and stuff. But I think we are at a place where we can budget it right and not see a big impact if one of us loses our source of income.
Okay. If you could go back in time and change one financial decision, which one would it be and why?
If I were to go back and change, I would probably change the way I paid for school, because I did take out a lot of loans. And I wish I would have, because I was working during school also, I was working about 40 hours a week.
Oh my God. So you're doing
so
full time
between like 36 and 40 hours. So I was working full time.
What was your job?
I was working at Costco.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So it was a good job. It paid well. So I did have some excess money versus my bills every month, but that didn't go to school. It went to, fun money. So looking back on it, I would probably get on a payment plan with the school, and to at least, there's no way I would be able to pay for school entirely, but I could at least probably have halved my loans if I budgeted it right. So pay for school while in school.
Nice. I thought that you were actually gonna talk about the credit card, but hey,
Yeah, kind of. I think it changed a little bit.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely, I like to see that the credit card was a lesson learned, but for you it was more about school. That management of money. I have to say, when it comes to time management, I think that you did a fantastic job. Because having a full-time job and also going full-time to school, that's a huge challenge.
Yeah, that was tough. I would hope long term, like that my kids don't have to do that. Because it did make, I would say, school harder than it needed to be, because you didn't have the time to study, go to the study groups, go to the review sessions. You had to work,
Would you even sleep?
Yeah, but not, you're up, sitting up till 2:30, 3 o'clock was the norm. During that time, you get out of work at 11, then you have maybe you have an 8 a.m., maybe you have an exam at 8 a.m. So had its challenges.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Alrighty, great answers, man. So now we're gonna be going over our first section called the Would You Rather. The way that it works is you grab that container, you're gonna go ahead and grab 5 pieces of paper, one at a time, and once you're done with it, once you pull it, show it to the camera, and then just toss it to the side. All right. So let me know. Let's go over the first one.
Okay. All right, we got number 11.
Number 11. Richard, would you rather go back in time and fix your biggest financial mistake, or be able to see into the future how everything turned out in the end?
I think be able to see into the future, because it was fun being young and dumb. It happens. But then knowing that in the end, it's probably would have ended up a different ending. But knowing in the end that your credit card, it's gonna get paid off, and there is a way to a light at the end of the tunnel. And then while I was in school like that, it was hard, and there was times where I would want to stop school and just stay at Costco because it paid well. It's like I can make good living here, but I'm gonna sell myself to the company at the end of the day. But now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, knowing, hey, you can work 40 hours a week and still make really good money. You don't have to sell yourself to a company. You can put your time in, get paid well. But that sometimes for some people, does require you to go to school.
Definitely. Nice. Let's go with the second
one. We have number 20.
20. Would you rather have a small savings account but earn a lot of money, or earn very little money but have a big savings account?
I think I would I'd rather make a lot of money and have a small savings account, because if you burn through your savings account, you know what's going to get replaced, versus the other way around. If you make less money and you have a big savings account, there's no telling that you don't burn through that savings account for some reason. It would just make it that much harder to refill that savings account.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, let's go with the third one.
Favorite number is 9, so we're going to make this 6 and 9.
Okay. All right. Would you rather work from home while a rock band is playing in your garage for your whole shift, or work at the office where you cannot leave your desk other than to eat or use the restroom, but your boss is super nice?
I would say at least you have some entertainment, and I like working loud, so let's go with the rock band.
That was an easy one. I thought it was going to be quite challenging. All right, let's go with the fourth one.
I guess this has to be 6.
All right, make it a 6 then. Would you rather get $1 million right now, or get $100,000 a year for 10 years?
$1 million right now, because in 10 years, who knows what $100,000 will be to you. or to me. So I think $1 million right now, use it right, you could probably still make up that $100,000 in the future. You just got to play your cards right, and the $1 million could pay off more in the end.
Yeah, I like how you value your opportunity cost. So you're really looking from that, like time value of money.
Correct.
All right, let's go with the last one then.
Numero uno.
Number one. I love this question. Would you rather pay for everything in pennies for the rest of your life or pay double with your credit card for every purchase?
Probably already did it, but paid double. Thanks to interest, I probably already made that choice. Yeah, paying the pennies would be quite a deal. Got to go buy a McDouble, and you're gonna count off 200 pennies. You'll get some looks.
Imagine you're like on the drive-thru, like, here you go. It's like,
imagine buying a house. Pay with a house.
What is this, a chest? Magnets, like open it. All right, now let's go over our second section called What Do You Think? Same concept. This one is more about opinions and thoughts on money. So same exercise, just 5 of them, one at a time. And then once you show it to the camera, you can just toss it to the side.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
We have 24.
24. What do you think? Should we all have a financial advisor in order to have a better understanding of our money?
I think as you get older, a financial advisor is definitely something you need to bring into your life because your finances get bigger, your bills get bigger, and I would say your money gets spread wider, whether that be your income or your bills. Your priorities expand. So I don't think everyone needs one, though. I think, it kind of depends on the person. Are you responsible enough to be your own financial advisor? If you're not, you should get the help of a financial advisor as well.
Okay. All right, let's go with the second one.
21.
21. Is it better to pay cash for everything or pay over time?
I would say the pay over time, because kind of like what we alluded to earlier, like that time value of money, as long as you do it responsibly. So if you don't pay it responsibly, paying stuff over time, usually on a lot of those offers, they might catch you in the back end of interest if you don't pay it off in time. But having the cash to use for a blanket, a little safety net on hand is very useful.
Perfect. All right, let's go with the third one.
30.
30, the last one. What is the most important thing to learn about money?
Most important thing to learn about money. Know your limits. Be able to control your finances and also understand the end goal if you don't. That can cover you in many ways.
Nice. Let's go with the fourth one.
All right. We have number 3.
Number 3. What do you think? Man, this one is going to be good because you've been on both sides of the spectrum on this one. Is it better to rent or to buy a house?
I would say to rent. Yeah. Curveball. I would say to buy a house. You're gonna pay yourself. You're paying your mortgage. As long as you pay that, even if you have like a condo, usually condos oftentimes don't like appreciate super. You don't gain a ton of equity, but generally speaking, you can usually sell it for what you paid, and that whole time you pretty much live there for free in the end. So I think mortgage better than renting.
Perfect. Great answer. Let's go with the last one.
18.
18. At what point in time should we move out of our parents' house?
There's no age. I know the answer or the question doesn't have any age. But I would say when you are financially capable without credit cards, to support yourself. And that doesn't mean you make a ton of money. That doesn't mean you have to be rich to move out or anything. And that doesn't say, the question isn't to buy your own home. It's just to move out. So buying or renting isn't a problem if you're not in that financial situation. So being able to take care of yourself is rent and not a mortgage. Saving up to buy a home is challenging. It's hard. But having that independence of being able to be on your own and not have to phone home for help every first of the month is probably the best time to look at it and say, all right, I can reasonably afford this.
Nice. Really like the answer. Finally, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience? Do you have any final thoughts?
One thing I didn't touch on was credit. I think if you pay attention to your credit score, it'll really help open opportunities later on. And so it's like, and you don't have to have a lot of money to have a good credit score. You just need to be responsible. So I think there's these situations I brought up where my credit card's through the roof. There's no end. Well, with a good credit score, which I have now, I'm able to do a balance transfer and have that 0% interest for 18 months. And, so that credit card, all right, now my chunk of payments are going entirely to principal. They're not going to interest. So if I didn't have a good credit score early on, I probably would have never received that offer. They know this guy's not going to pay it back. Why would I help him? So having a good credit score can really help you fix your mistakes that you may have made earlier in life.
Richard, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please support the channel by subscribing, commenting, and liking the video. The question of the day is the following. Let me know your opinions, thoughts, comments, and constructive criticism in the comment section, and I will see you guys on the next video.